We have a resolution 2.1 for the executive committee recommending an appropriation and investment of $50,000 to the Heart of Illinois Regional Port District in fiscal year 25. Is there a motion to put that on the floor? Member Blair, Member Allison. I thought they were coming. So we did have the presentation last month. I did think that they were attending today's meeting. I apologize. Some of the financials got out. There was some information they clarified, and then we asked for some more clarification. You should have gotten some of the financial stuff here this afternoon.
And there's materials at everyone's desks as well.
Jennifer, not to put you on the spot, but you want to just rehash what the group does and what they're, since you're our member representative.
So essentially, as we talked about before, the concept is to promote economic development and decrease overlapping efforts. So basically using the Illinois River to promote central Illinois and further. As Jimmy and I kind of assessed, they're more of a lobbying effort than anything to help get federal grants to come our way. They don't consider themselves a lobbying team because they do a lot of other things, but that's kind of the biggest area that we see the benefit coming from. They did respond, I think, which is what's on here, to the request of some information on what they do in terms of how they can benefit central Illinois and what their numbers look like from other counties.
And to add to that, I'm sure if you would like to be on their emailing list, they would gladly add you for the amount of information that they send on a weekly basis. A little bit more about this is a number that we settled on after numerous conversations and meetings between Member Allison and myself and Administrator Sorrell. Their initial number that they came and asked for was in the six-figure range, and we said that is not even a non-starter. What we had talked about was the other counties. Tazewell is at the higher number right now. It was their initial investment in it, and some of the other smaller counties were doing it. The initial request was $1 per resident, and that's how it was funded in the past. We told them that that was a non-starter, that we would be, if anything, that we felt comfortable presenting to the board more of a $50,000 1 year, and then potentially if they came back and made a presentation in another year, that we would be looking at doing two renewables as seed money to get them up and operational, because they do have some bonding authority and some other avenues. And they were a recipient of a state grant that helped do some studies to help get them along the way. Their main office is in downtown Peoria, and they have been quite a bit of, they've brought in Korean grain brokers, all sorts of Brazilians to show for the things and really try to promote the waterway. So this is where we're at to have the present offer. This is a 2/3 vote. It is a budget amendment, so without that, it is a failure.
Simple majority in this committee, Chairman, 2/3 at the board meeting.
Member Blair.
The $50,000, is that earmarked for anything on their budget, or can they use it for whatever they want? I mean, are we covering operations? What are we doing with that? Do we know?
They had, good question. So a year ago, they gave us a budget, a general budget, which was the budget they originally sent back to us, and that was if they're at different funding levels of what they wanted to do. Me and Jennifer both immediately responded, no, that is not how this works. Is we want to see where your current revenues are and how you are planning on basing off your current revenues. So they had office, insurance, travel, overhead. It basically is going into their general operations budget. And they're still somewhat in their infancy of growing, but they did it is a huge victory that they basically have gotten Illinois and these considered to be actual ports with the federal government, which was never considered that before. And that has always been one of their main arguments of how do you go for federal money when you weren't even recognized as a port, and the amount of commerce that is going up and down the Illinois River is considerable. So, and with the locks and dams and everything else, as we've seen, that's why me and Jennifer had called them lobbyists. They're really taking that information, promoting it, and helping tell the story of the Illinois River.
And following up on that, they, by grouping the different ports together, have combined the total tonnage to indicate that we have more tonnage flowing down our river than the Port of New Orleans. So, I mean, that's kind of a fact that most people wouldn't recognize, and so they're helping get recognition to the necessity of our river system here. In terms of the money in the budget, they don't have this money specified for a project. It is operational. The money that they're looking at for projects is all grant money. Yeah.
Member Rosenbaum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed on the back page here with the where all of us are putting their amounts that we're giving, at the bottom it says an independent consultant identified as part of the recent strategic planning effort. A minimum required revenue needed for it was $250,000 annual. If it's going for a consultant to do one of those, I'm not in favor of giving any money for more consultants, because you do a consultant, you do a thing, and it goes up on a shelf and nobody does it. We as the county have spent too much money and didn't use too many of them that I've been on the board that we spent thousands of dollars for a consultant, didn't use it, put it on the shelf. If this is what it's for, I'm not for it. If it's to promote it and to help grow it, I mean, I understand the Illinois River going because I have products going up and down it too with selling corn and soybeans. So that I'm all for, but if it's just to hire a consultant to tell them what they need to do, I would think that the people that are on the board should be smart enough to know what to do, but that's my opinion.
I'll let Jennifer, do you know? So part of the consultant, from what I had understood in meetings, was putting the data together on the different ports and the information that they showed. There was a state grant that paid for the original study to put the Port Authority and mappings and everything together. I actually don't know if that's different or if that was part of that grant that they had hired to have a person do the study of the tonnage and gather all the data to put in to tell the story. That was originally part of the state grant, I believe, right? So I don't know if that's current or if that's another consultant, because the original seed money they were given by the state was to compile the data, the tonnage, do the research and development, contact the companies, and put the process together. So that is a question I can find out for you, Paul, but I do not know the correct answer at the moment. Member Ricker?
Yeah, I'll just make a few comments. I've been very questioning on this and asked a lot of questions, and they have provided some information. I think probably the two outstanding pieces of information that I've asked for were, give me some results that you've accomplished besides putting some data together, and I realize they're early into it. And the second is, what do you have a budget? Which, this year's budget, your current operating budget, and we haven't seen it. I'm still willing to support this with the idea that they're still forming, they're still gelling what they're doing, and the ports are really critical here in our agricultural community, along with some of the other businesses that use it. So I'll support this for 1 year, and if they come back next year, I expect them to have a little more details and some results and do a better job at positioning for the ask.
And And I think that's basically, to Member Ricker, is what they're asking for. That this is to prove it, show it, and if you would like a sit down with them, not to volunteer people, but I'm pretty sure they would be very glad to sit down with you and explain everything that they do financially and that they do from the port thing, because they are very energetic about talking about port authority. So I think those are open meetings that they've offered that they're willing to have. Member Rulon?
One of the first things I voted on when I came to the county board, and that's, I don't know, 2.5 years ago probably, was a similar request for a group researching passenger rail from Peoria to Chicago. And in that time, we've got no response, no follow-up visit. I don't have any idea, I don't think any of us do, on the progress. So I'm with Member Ricker in that, assuming we get reporting, I would support this for a year, but would be quick to reverse that if we don't have some understanding of their progress. I believe also, having lived on the river my entire life, that tonnage is misleading. Gravel and sand, which is an incredible percentage of what moves up and down the river, is much heavier than grain and is also much lower in value than grain. So it's a misleading statistic, at least to me, because there's nothing backing it up. And so I think we need to be cautious about this. I'm willing to support it 1 year, but I will change my position pretty rapidly if we don't have some reporting before it renews.
And I guess I shouldn't make a clarification so that you see, as it's presented, it is for fiscal year 25. So it is not for 26. So this was, if you recall, about this time last year when we did they gave a presentation at the Riverfront Museum. That was with the intention of the other counties' money was allocated for that for fiscal year 25. So this is really asking for money that they thought was going to be allocated for this fiscal year. I just want to make that clarification of this is not going into fiscal year 26 for the budget. That was for fiscal year 25, just so that's clear. Member Phelan?
Just curious, on the funding, are counties the only ones funding this right now? Are there no cities that have been requested or given?
So they're working on an alliance of cities up and down the Illinois River. So that's for the Heart of Illinois Regional Port District. It is just counties. But there's also the Illinois Waterways Network, and so they're working on aligning all the mayors, at least, from all the cities to increase the both involvement and funding sources.
And by statute, it's the counties that actually have the appointment authority with the governor's office to the board. So when you see those boards, those are actually, that is a state body commissioned by the state of Illinois with governor appointments. So only counties have appointments to that currently. Sorry, was there another hand out there? Seeing none other, please cast your vote. Ayes have it. Next would be public comment. Seeing none, miscellaneous.